Server-side scripting PHP Chapter -5. What is scripting language? A scripting language is used to write scripts. These contain a series of commands that are interpreted one by one at runtime, unlike programming languages that are compiled first before running. Scripting languages can be divided into two categories: server-side scripting languages, client-side scripting languages. What is scripting language? Client-side scripting languages HTML, CSS, JavaScript, etc. Server-side scripting languages PHP, Python, Node.js, Java, etc. Prerequisite: before learning PHP, you must have the basic knowledge of the following: HTML, CSS, JavaScript. What is PHP? PHP stands for PHP, Hypertext Preprocessor, created by Rasmus Lertoft in 1994, but appeared in the market in 1995. Interpreted language, i.e., there is no need for compilation. Server-side scripts embedded in HTML pages. Object-oriented language. Open source scripting language, simple and easy to learn language. Why we use /learn PHP. Reason: it handles dynamic content. You can create sessions, it can access cookies, variable, and also set cookies. It helps to encrypt the data and apply validation. PHP supports several protocols, easy to install and set up. It can handle the forms. PHP features. There are some important features of PHP. Client makes a request. Client. Browser, web browser. OS, web server. OS server. Internet requests an internet resource by specifying a URL and providing input via HTTP encoded strings. Network core. Get hello.php http://1.1 host www.internetpro.net 80. Client, web browser, web server, HTML server, MySQL operating system, PHP interpreter, internet, my codes, HTTP TCP/IP server, response, web server supports HTTP. What's happening? Client, browser, find hello.php, parse the file, run fbar through PHP interpreter, deliver resulting document to port 80. Web server, get hello.php http://1.1 host www.internetpro.net 80 http://1.1200. OK. Document body, display resulting document on the screen. Installation: to install PHP, there AMP, Apache, MySQL, PHP, software stack, which is available for all OS: WAMP for Windows, LAMP for Linux, MAMP for Mac, XAMPP for Solaris, FAMP for FreeBSD, XAMPP for cross-platform. Basic PHP syntax: a PHP script is executed on the server, and the plain HTML result is sent back to the browser. A PHP script can be placed anywhere in the document. A PHP script starts with LT, and ends with GTLT. PHP//PHP code goes here. GT. The file extension for PHP files is .php. A PHP file normally contains HTML tags and some PHP scripting code. Basic PHP syntax: simple example of PHP file: LT, doc type HTML, GT, LT, HTML, GT, body, LTH1, GT, my first PHP page, /H1, GT, LT, PHP echo hello world, GTLT/body, LT/HTML. GT echo is used to output the text hello world. Note: PHP statements end with a semicolon. Winky face. PHP comment: PHP supports single-line and multi-line comments. Single-line comments // C++ style single-line comment, Hashtag, Unix shell style single line comment, multi-line comment / write your comments here, */. Variables in PHP. In PHP, a variable is declared using a $sign followed by the variable name. Rules for declaring PHP variable must start with a $, sign. It can only contain alphanumeric character and underscore, AZ, 0 to 9, underscore, dot must start with a letter or underscore, character cannot contain spaces, cannot start with a number or special symbols, are case sensitive. Variables in PHP. Syntax of declaring a variable in PHP. Variable name equals value. Example LT. PHP $str equals hello string. $x equals 200. $y equals 44.6. Echo string is $strltbr/gt. Echo inte Jerry's $xltbr/gt. Echo floaties $yltbr/gt. GT SPH typed language so do not need to declare theta type soft he variables. Variables in PHP. PHP has three types of variable scopes. Global variable declared outside a function has a global scope and can only be accessed outside a function. Local variable declared within a function has a local scope and can only be accessed within that function. Static variable. Sometimes we want a local variable not to be deleted. We need it for a further job. To do this, use the static keyword when you first declare the variable. Operators in PHP equals, plus, dash, slash, asterisk, and, plus, dash, percent, slash equals, asterisk equals, GT, LT, GT equals, LT equals, and, caret, all similar to C++. Additionally, string concatenation $full name equals $first name, $last name equals identical test operator, same type as well as same value at error suppression command when placed in front of an expression in PHP. Any error messages that might be generated by that expression will be ignored. Backtick to execute shell commands. Be careful for variations on different platforms. Control structure in PHP. PHP different control structures: if else if switch while do while for each and more if else switch case break continue. Similar to C++, but must use brackets always. While loop, do, while loop, for loop, all similar to C++. Arrays in PHP. It is a special variable, which can hold more than one value at a time. There are three types of array in PHP: indexed array, arrays with a numeric index; associative array, arrays with named keys; multidimensional array, arrays containing one or more arrays. Indexed array. There are two ways to create indexed arrays. The first way is $data type equals array, integer, string, boolean, float. The second way is $data type 0 equals integer, $data type 1 equals string, $data type 2 equals boolean, $data type 3 equals float. Associative array. There are two ways to create an associative array. The first way, $salary equals array, A equals GT 350000, B equals GT 450000, C equals GT 200000. The second way, $salary A equals 3500000, $salary B equals 4500000, $salary C equals 200000. Multidimensional array, it also known as array of arrays. It allows you to store tabular data in an array. It can be represented in the form of matrix, which is represented by row asterisk column dot $emp equals array, array, 1, A400000, array, 2, B500000, array, 3, C300000, ID name salary 1 A 400,000, 2 B 500,000, 3 C 300,000. Function in PHP. Function is a piece of code that can be reused many times. It can take input as argument list and return value. There are thousands of built-in functions in PHP. Besides the built-in PHP functions, it is possible to create your own functions. We can define conditional function, function within function, and recursive function. Advantage of PHP functions: code reusability, defined only on C and can be invoked many times like in other programming languages. Less code, it saves lot of code because you don't need to write the logic many times. Easy to understand, so it is easier to understand the flow of the application because either a logicist divide in the form of functions. PHP function syntax: function, function underscore name, / coded of executed node. Function name must be start with letter and underscore only, like other labels in PHP. It can't be start with numbers or special symbols. Example: LT, PHP function say hello, echo hello. PHP function, say hello, / calling function, GT. Form in PHP: we can create and use forms in PHP. To get form data, we need to use PHP superglobal $_get and $_post. The form request may be get or post. To retrieve data from GET request, we need to use $_get. For post request $_post. Get request is default form request. Visible on the URL browser, not secured. Send limited amount of data. Post request is widely used to submit form that have large amount of data such as file upload, image upload, login form, registration form, etc. Not visible on the URL browser, secured. Send large amount of data. Post. PHP form validation: the server-side form validations help keeping the form submission data consistent. The validations also help in lesser server-side errors. Form validation vs form security checks: form validation is focused towards the user input, whereas the security validations should be focused on how you use the data. PHP form validation: when the form is submitted, the following entries will be stored in the $_post array, or $_get array depending on the form's method attribute. Field type: mandatory or optional. Name: single value variable. Mandatory address: single value variable. Mandatory email: single value variable. Mandatory how many: single value variable. Mandatory must select one favorite fruit array. Mandatory must select one brochure. Single value variable. Optional. PHP form validation: PHP validates the data at the server side, which is submitted by HTML form. You need to validate a few things: empty string, validate string, validate numbers, validate email, validate URL input length. PHP form validation example: if empty $_post name $error message equals error, you didn't enter name, echo $error message, else $name equals $_post name. File handling in PHP. PHP file system allows us to create file, read file line by line, read file character by character, write file, append file, delete file, and close file. PHP open file open function is used to open file. It accepts two arguments, $file name and $mode. The $file name represents the file to be opened and the $mode represents the file mode, for example read only, read write, write only etc. Syntax, open, file name, mode, lt, php $handle equals open, c/folder/file.txt, r, gt. PHP open file mode modes what it does are open the file for reading lit. R and open the file for reading writing. W open the file for writing and clears the content soffle. If the file do as note exist PHP will attempt to create it. W and open the file for reading writing clears the content soffle. If the file do as note exist PHP will attempt to create it. Append. Opens the file for writing preserves file content be writing to theme. He file. If the file do as note exist PHP will attempt to create it. And read/append. Opens the file for reading writing preserves file content be writing to theme. He file. If the file do as note exist PHP will attempt to create it. X open the file for writing return falsc and generate sane error if the file ready exists. If the file do as note exist PHP will attempt to create it. X and open the file for reading writing, otherwise the same behavior as X. PHP read file. PHP provides various functions to read data from file. There are different functions that allow you to read all file data, read data line by line and read data character by character. PHP file read functions are read, fgets, fgesi. End of chapter.